Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Moving to Australia with Amitava Deb. I'm Arun Belur, and joining me in the studio is Amitava himself. Hi Amitava, welcome to our podcast.
Hi Arun, good afternoon.
So today we would be addressing a common question that you get asked by a lot of your prospecting clients when you first speak with them. This is about skill assessment and English proficiency for general skill migration. So let's dive into it and let's address this. So when an applicant lodges an EOI within a nominated occupation, their skills must meet the standards set by the DHA to work in that occupation. And for them to prove their eligibility, they must get their skills assessed by a skills assessing authority. And a skill assessment is mandatory for the following visas, like general skill migration, which is subclass 189, 190, 489, 491, employer sponsored visas, subclass 186, 187, temporary skills shortage visas, subclass 482, and temporary graduate visas, subclass 485 in the graduate work streams. So how does one ascertain which skills assessing authority they should contact? And is it their work experience or their academic qualifications that is assessed by the authority?
Right, so they first have to select an occupation from the list of available occupations and the subclasses they are going to apply for. Okay, and the occupation would probably fall under one of the three occupation list. Anyway, that's not relevant for this question. Now, when they have identified an occupation, there are two things to do. One is to figure out whether initially it'll be more like a guesswork. Okay, I think I am a marketing specialist. I think I am a sales and marketing manager. They can shortlist a few. Each occupation in the skilled occupation list indicates which assessment body is responsible for evaluating and providing a skills assessment outcome letter for the purpose of migration. So Department of Home Affairs have outsourced this task to the experts. So Home Affairs, they are a legal body or a government body. They are not experts in every occupation. Hence, each occupation, for example, if it is an IT occupation, it will be Australian Computer Society. If it is an engineering occupation, it will be Engineers Australia. If it is trades, it will be Trades Recognition Australia. And then there are a whole bunch of professional and para-professional, semi-professional occupations that fall under VETSS, Vocational Education and Training Assessment. So once they have shortlisted the occupation, then they'll have to go and see which assessment authority. And then go to the website of that assessment authority and figure out what is needed. What is most important in this situations is the duties statement, if employment has to be assessed as well. Some occupations do not require employment assessment. Only the education assessment could be enough. And these occupations are engineers, accountants, architects, teachers, and a few others. So no employment necessary. Employment, of course, will give them additional points. And then there are those who mandatorily require experience. Australian Computer Society, they require at least 2 years if you're overseas. If you've studied in Australia, at least 1 year. Then there is VETSS, who require 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, depending on certain criteria.
Now, there are some individuals who have a work experience which is completely different from their academic qualifications. So in a situation like that, what would they do? Who would they reach out to?
Again, it depends on the occupation and the assessment body. So I'll give you an example. If somebody is a software engineer and has studied Bachelor of Commerce, then they are deemed not eligible if they do not have 6 years of work experience. If somebody is a statistician and has 3 years of experience or 1 year of experience but have not studied statistics, then he is not eligible. So it's a complex area. It depends on the occupation and the requirements laid down the assessment authority.
So this is where the expertise of a MARA agent comes in. This is how you will advise them which assessing authority that they should reach out to get their skills assessed so that it's not rejected.
Well, we may not be able to choose the right occupation because the person who is the applicant, he is supposed to be an expert in his own background. So he will be able to choose and say, these are the occupations I think I fit in. Then the MARA agent will come and say, okay, let me have a look. If you think you fit in, do you meet this criteria? So that's how it has to be.
When is the ideal time to get your skill assessed? Is it pre-invitation, post-invitation?
Okay, so skills assessment must be done before lodging an expression of interest. A skills assessment and English test result, these two are mandatory before lodging an expression of interest. So obviously, if a skills assessment is not done, no expression of interest, no invitation. However, skills assessment have an expiry date. So suppose somebody has done a skills assessment, say, last year, and today he has lodged an expression of interest, which is valid for 2 years. Any expression of interest is valid for 2 years. And halfway through the life cycle of the expression of interest, the skills assessment expires. And he does not remember to renew the skills assessment. However, the expression of interest is still valid. And then suddenly he gets an invitation. Is he going to be able to lodge the visa application? Earlier it was no. But thanks to a precedence set by the case Thapa versus Minister, I think it was a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly. One can always Google. It's there on the internet. Thapa versus Minister. His visa application was refused because after invitation, he realized his skills assessment had expired. He went and got his skills assessment done within the 60-day period. And then he made the application. That's where the regulation was a little unclear. There was a little hole. Hence, when he did an appeal through a lawyer, it was successful. And then there came a precedent. So many people were then subsequently benefited. So what I want to say is that even if the skills assessment has expired and he has been invited, or even English has expired and he has been invited, he has 60 days to go and get the skills assessment or the English retest done to maintain the same points as was in the original expression of interest. And then he will be okay.
That 60-day time limit is the time given by the DHA after they send out an invitation to lodge a visa?
Yes, that is correct.
And if you have to get your skill assessment done again because it's expired, is the cost the same?
It depends on the assessment body. Australian Computer Society, it is the same fee. It is a new assessment. Engineers Australia, it is a reissue of the same letter with a new date, unless you want additional experience assessed. VET SS, it is a reassessment. So Every assessment body have their own rules.
A lot of people are confused between lodging an EOI and lodging a visa. Many don't understand the difference. Can you please contrast the two for the benefit of our listeners?
Yeah, many do not understand. Yeah, many people say, oh, when do I apply? So there are many applications during the process. So you apply for skills assessment, you apply to a state, you lodge an expression of interest, and then when invited, you lodge the visa application. So EOI is an expression of interest. It's not a visa. It's not a visa application. A lot of people ask me, I have lodged an expression of interest. Where is my bridging visa? So when you're onshore, you lodge a visa application, you get a bridging visa automatically. But not when you lodge an expression of interest, because expression of interest is not a visa application. You are in the queue waiting to be invited. You're in the waiting room waiting for an interview.
So you're basically offshore when you lodge your EOI.
Or you are onshore when you lodge your EOI. It depends on where you are. You can lodge your EOI wherever you are. And it doesn't matter. EOIs do not have offshore onshore tag.
Has it ever happened with any of your clients where they have reached out to the assessing authority because they have realized that their skill assessment has expired and they have not been able to get the letter within the 60 days and time has run out?
For my clients, I had never such a situation because I always ensure that an expression of interest, when lodged, it always has valid skills assessment. If a skills assessment is going to expire, my CRM informs me that these are the candidates whose skills assessment are going to expire, and I inform them. And when the skills assessment expires and they have not done it, I usually suspend those EOIs. But yes, if they apply for skills assessment in the situation that you are talking about, many skills assessment bodies will take more than 60 days. VET-SS, for example, takes about 4 to 5 months. You can request, but there is no guarantee.
So what does an applicant do?
Well, if it doesn't happen, bad luck. So an applicant should always ensure that skills assessment have not expired. They should apply for a reassessment before the skills assessment expires. This is only in situations when they probably had an EOI, they did not realize, they gave up hope, the skills assessment expired, and then one day they get an invitation. They're thrilled. And then they realize everything has expired. So they can get lucky within that 60-day period, but it is not guaranteed.
To be able to reapply for your English proficiency test, or like for the skill assessment, you are now granted an additional time frame, which is basically the 60-day limit after you have been invited to apply for the visa. Was that always in the picture for English tests?
No, skills assessment, English test, everything should be in the past, should be valid at the time of invitation. It's only because of these precedents we are able to do it for English as well as skills assessment. It is something that might benefit those who have forgotten to redo their English or their skills assessment. But they have to ensure when they redo the English, they get the same marks. So let's say they had superior English and then they redo and they do not get superior. Oh, that's it. Bad luck. Gone. If they score more, then it's good.
So it's always good to have all your documents ready and then get the assessment done and the English test and
Yes,
straight away
that
lodge
is
your
correct.
application to ensure
Everything remains valid during the life cycle of an active EOI. And my CRM allows me to manage that. It sends out alerts saying, these are the EOIs where the skills assessment or the English test are going to expire. Skill Select sends that email as well.
All right, I think we've covered everything that we needed to as far as getting your skills assessed and English proficiency, making sure it's valid for lodging your EOI and your visa as well. So
That's right.
thank you for your time as always, Amitava.
Thank you.
It's nice talking to you.
Thank you, Arun.
So for those of you listening, if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, please do so. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.